still get giddy when I see a legion of stormtroopers.
Yeah.
And so I love that with the Marvel characters. Robert Downey Jr. dresses up as Iron Man. He goes into the hospital. Like, think about the amazing emotional experience that they're creating for that child. That's pretty awesome. And so that's what they're doing.
Yeah. So Eric actually gave us that idea. I was like, okay, for Christmas time, we have beanies for the guys, but I always get them little headbands that's like an elf or a reindeer or, and I'm like, hey, wear this when you're putting Christmas lights on. But I'm like, if there's a kiddo there, please be sure to like have something on and just make it feel like super cool. Like the elves are coming to my home to install the Christmas lights.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is Shannon Thomas, who is the co-owner of Save Your Glass Window Cleaning. And you do this alongside your husband, Mark, who's an amazing man, by the way.
He is.
And you have a mission statement, which is make Spokane sparkle. Yep. And that's also an acronym for something. But you really go above and beyond with customers. And that is something, and I've utilized your service as well as with window cleaning. And it's like, you have done something so special to go above and beyond for clients that makes you referable. And I thought you would be this perfect guest as an entrepreneur and as a co-owner of a business and working with somebody. And I wanted to have you on this podcast for so long, Shannon.
Oh,
thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, for everyone who doesn't know about your amazing service, can you kind of give us a little elevator pitch on what Save Your Glass does?
Yeah. So we're an exterior cleaning company, and originally it started as a window cleaning company. But when my hubby and I bought it, we decided, you know what, we're going to scale, we're going to grow, we're going to be an exterior cleaning company. So we decided to add pressure washing, moss removal, gutter cleaning, soft washing, and my all-time favorite is custom Christmas lights for the all year round sparkle, is what I say.
But you also do the interior
We do
of
the
windows
interior
as well.
of the windows, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll clean screens and the tracks for your windows and stuff like that. But for the most part, we say exterior because we focus on, we do like the bricks and concrete and moss on the roof and
So it's a full round service.
It is.
And when you say that you do Christmas lights, I know because you've quoted us on Christmas lights, and I asked your husband, Mark, like, what's the biggest job you've ever had? And he said, he goes, we had one guy who wanted the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacations, the Griswold house.
Yep.
And I was like, are you kidding me? He goes, no. And it's so expensive to do that.
It's so expensive, literally covering. Probably the biggest job that we did do was one of the hotels out in Liberty Lake. And we just wrapped a ton of trees and it was so beautiful. But yeah, that one turned out really gorgeous.
But you don't do the music to it?
No, we don't do the music to it.
I was plugging that if that was the case. I'd be like, maybe we should use that for that. That's awesome. Yeah. How did you get into this business? How did you buy the company? And did you always want to buy a company with your husband, or what is the backstory of that?
I definitely didn't think I would own a cleaning company. I come from a teaching background. I ran my favorite was 5-year-olds, basically like 4-month-old kiddos to 5-year-olds. I ran a Montessori style daycare and I ran that for 10 years. My hubby came from the restaurant background and then he had some cleaning experience with that, like cleaning restaurants and hoods and stuff like that. But basically God brought us the business. We moved out here. Our next door neighbor wanted to sell his business and he wanted to go do missionary work. And so Mark was like, hey, he has this business and he was kind of miserable. He was a chef out here and just was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so, but he's like, I need your help to hop on and come and help me grow it. And I was like, well, I guess I'll try and see.
Talk to me about that. Like, I want your help.
So he said that he wasn't going to be able to grow it like networking wise, right? Make connections, build relationships. That's kind of my forte. So, so I was like, well, I don't really know how to do that. When I opened my daycare, I didn't really network. I just kind of was all word of mouth. And so I really had to teach myself on what to do. So I went out, I joined the chamber. I'm an ambassador with the Spokane Valley Chamber of Commerce. We joined BOMA. We joined... Let's see.
Your
Shiva.
BNI too, right?
Yep, we have a BNI group. I just kind of joined different networking groups and started from there and I'm just naturally, like I want to help people and I want to connect people. So learning about other people's businesses, I just kind of think like, okay, how can I connect you? How can I help you? Who do I know that can help your business grow? And naturally it just kind of goes.
Well, and that's one of your superpowers because you are, yes, it is. You're amiable, and we have a mutual friend, Georgia, who introduced us.
I love Georgia.
With the Ballet Chamber, and she is just like, you're like these ninja networkers, right? Because you're about giving, you're not selfish, and it's like, you're like, how can I help somebody else? And then what happens, and I've always been good at this also, is that when you start talking to someone across from a table and you start listening to their needs and what their problems are, what their pain points are, or what keeps them from sleeping at night, you start to think, and you're like, this person needs to know this person.
Yes.
This person really I can help this person. And it just gets your like synapse moving. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, and you start connecting people together with each other. Yeah. And you do that naturally.
So do you. And you do it amazingly.
Well, okay. So why is it did you always know that you did that? Or was that something that you kind of filled those pants in when you were forced to do so because you would run the Montessori, but in reality, word of mouth is from networking and doing a good job, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have a memorable service and a valuable service, you're not going to get referred word of mouth, right? So, but you're having those conversations with the parents, for example, and you're like, oh yeah, Sister Susie could bring in her daughter too, or whatever. So it's like you are connecting. Yeah. And so is that something that just naturally was easy for you to get into? And how did it become more of a superpower?
I definitely did not know that I had a networking superpower until I started actually like networking. Uh-huh. Mark jokes all the time, okay, our next business is going to be your networking. You're going to be like a business coach, networker type of person. Cause I just constantly, so like I'm a visitor host with our BNI group. And what I do is when people come to visit, I kind of explain to them the way that it works and help connect them and show them, you know, how BNI works and how to utilize it the best of its potential. And so I don't know, like, I guess that comes from the teacher part of me. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to do this and help you grow. And
well, I love that because what you just said is the expectations on like joining groups like Rotary or a chamber or Toastmasters or a mastermind group. Yeah. A lot of people assume that once you join, all the work's going to come to you.
Oh, no.
And all of these things are going to come flushing at you in this business. But you do have to put the work in.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And so what you're doing is you are helping leverage that, but you're also realizing that there's a problem there. And that problem is that they have an expectation that isn't being met because maybe they aren't ready to put that work in. Yeah. But you're showing them, if you do the work, this is how easy it can be. Yeah. And you've done an exceptional job at that.
Well, thank you.
How did Mark get you to jump on board? Because that's scary. So you went up from a job where you had an income and you had a reputation, and then you're walking away from it into something totally new. Yeah. How terrifying was that?
Yeah, it was so scary. He's like, just come take the summer and try and see if you can do it. And I'm like, okay. So kind of just took summer and
because you were on break.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, well, let me try a few like networking things. Let me check out, like kind of did my own research. Yeah. I definitely had to totally nerd out and find out like, okay, well, in order for me to sell something or even educate somebody on window cleaning, I have to like know what we're doing and moss removal. So, you know, I kind of went down the rabbit hole of like pressure washing, and those are like the most like calming videos for me to watch and like learn. Like pressure washing is one of my favorites. Okay. Out of all of them. Okay. Even just doing it, it's just so like peaceful. Yeah. Window cleaning, I'm not very good at it. There's a technique.
Talent.
Yes.
100%.
Like, there's a technique to window cleaning.
And a drywall.
Oh, yes.
Like legit painting and drywall is like, there's no way you could get me to do that ever again at a home. Ever. Okay. So there's a technique that you realized.
There's a technique for sure. Like just the way that you do it, it's crazy. So I'm not very good at that part. But yeah, so I totally had to nerd out and, you know, find out all of our techniques, our processes and all of that. Yeah.
But that goes to show you as a leader of not only a company and an owner, but it's like you being able to understand the technical verbiage and what the process is, and to understand like, oh, these are ways that we can cut costs a little bit because you've been in the trenches and you understand that differently. But your superpower is networking. Yeah. How have you utilized that synergistically with Mark now? Like, to become what you've become? Because like, do you guys just feed off of each other and you just know your own lane, and then every once in a while you come together like, what is dinner like at the Thomas house at night? Like you say, oh, I met 45 people and we're going, or how do you guys talk and say, how are we doing?
Yeah. So we definitely had to, right. Okay. So you learn how to be a wife and a husband, right? And same with a business. You have to learn how to be a business partner. Mark and I are like very kind of opposites. I'm very like outgoing and bubbly and I talk and a lot, and he's kind of like stoic and just sits there. He's hilarious, but you have to like kind of break down his wall and like earn his trust type of thing.
Sure.
But he's just a big teddy bear, honestly. I just, and I love that. But we're
I'm just gonna give him a hug.
I know he loves hugs.
Okay.
But we definitely like we complement each other so well, and I think that's one of the things that that works so great. But we definitely had to get a business coach, and I suggest people that are trying to run a business with, and you're struggling with your spouse, a business coach is amazing. Like, I'm very much a powerhouse and I'm very organized, and I'm like, okay, what's the plan? What do we need to do? Okay, this is what we need to do, and go, go, go. And my hubby's like, okay, wait a minute, slow down. We need to think about it. And, and I'm just like, no. So I had to learn how to stay in my lane, and he had to learn how to stay in his lane as well. And then that's how it will work together. So
not only did you put time and money into it, right? But you did the effort required once that. Are you still working on it? Like, do you guys still have issues? They're like, oh!
We still have business coach.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I love our business coach. He's truly amazing. His name's Kenny Smith, and he owns Diffie Average. And yeah, he's awesome. He helps us a ton, helping with like processes and growing and staying in our lane and all of that stuff. So,
well, there was a point, obviously, that you were like, okay, I took the summer and I started doing this, and then you started actually making money. Yeah. And you started getting referrals, and you started getting repeat customers. At what point did you realize, like, wow, this is kind of like, not only am I interested in it, but I'm being successful at it, and we're making a living at it. Like, when did that transition happen? At what point?
So I really had to, like, coming from like a teacher heart, I really had to, when I first started, I was learning all the things to nerd it out. Then I kind of like was like, okay, I needed to.
Is that YouTube watching nerding out? Because that's what I'm mentioning. I'm like, what's nerding out mean?
So like I went on different like window cleaning websites as well, and WCR is one of them. That and other ones, and kind of like learning all of that stuff on top of like pressure washing as well.
Not to look at the competition.
No, but to just educate myself.
Okay.
And then I'm like, okay, now I have to build relationships. Now I have to grow the company. Now I have to get more customers. And then kind of just going around, I did like foot on the street. So I went to different businesses. I checked out their building. I looked at their window cleaners. And then I got to realizing, like, I love Spokane and I like Idaho. Like, it's just gorgeous. It's so beautiful, but it's so sad also at points where you go to different buildings and it's like, look at this beautiful building that's ugly and covered in dirt.
Down.
And it's like, it could just be so amazing and truly sparkle and look beautiful. And I always tell people, like, you know, that first evening where you just washed your bedding and then like you climb into bed and it's like all cozy and just like smells so great, and that feeling
Heidi
that you
refers to it as a hotel every night. This feels like a hotel bed.
Yes, it's like like it just makes you happy. And I feel like when you look at a building that is yucky and run down, and then we come in and we just make it beautiful and sparkle, it like gives me that feeling. And when I started meeting with like we do commercial and residential, but a lot of the commercial customers, when I would go and talk to them and say, hey, you know, like, do you have a window cleaner? Do you have a pressure washer? And they're like, some of them say yes. And I'm like, okay, well, can I point out some things that they're not doing? Things that we could help you solve, some problems and stuff like that. And then when they see the befores and afters, it's just like, it gives me that like climb into cozy bed feeling. And I want everyone to have that feeling. So I love it.
I feel it's coming out of you right now, like your satisfaction from that. And that's like, obviously, when we procrastinate, we put off the hard stuff and we do the easy things. Like, I want to vacuum my room because immediate satisfaction, it looks way better, right? And I think the cleaning of the windows really does brighten things up.
It brightens the home, the building. It's crazy how some people are like, I did not realize how dark it was in my home until, you come in and you clean the windows.
And it does. It makes a difference for sure. And on your car.
Right?
Even when I go even when I go to get my gas done, it's like I clean my windows, like, oh, my car looks pretty good. Well, okay, so let's take a step back really quick. And you had mentioned that when you were walking around and you were just looking at businesses, maybe you were trying to pitch them and maybe you weren't. And you were showing them things that might be missing, right? Like you weren't trying to solve their entire problem and pitch them the sale. You were like, have you ever thought of it like this?
Yeah.
And it really hit home with something that I used to do when I worked at Gold's Gym. And it was like, when I would see someone on the floor working out, instead of going over and correcting their exercise routine and saying, you're doing that wrong, you need to do it this way, I would say, have you ever tried it like this with this extra thing?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, that person became a client of mine, not because I made them feel like they were doing it wrong or they were bad. It was like, all of a sudden it was like, they just showed me something and I learned something.
Yeah.
And it's about teaching somebody about what it could look like. And obviously you did that. So that was something that you did. And did you find that as well? Like when you did pitch it that way, that somehow you transferred them into clients right away?
Yeah, usually. I'm not like a salesy person. I don't like that icky feeling and I guess I don't really ever approach it as like I'm trying to sell something.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help them solve a problem, and maybe they know it or they don't know, or they don't see it the way that I see it. I'm very meticulous, so I like notice all these little things. And so, yeah, like I think I just kind of go in and with the idea and the plan of just like, let me help you with your problems that you're having, or just even asking them like, hey, are there any issues that you're having?
Well, but not only that, but it's like when you ask them, hey, have you ever looked at it this way?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I haven't. You're making them make the decision themselves.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I never realized that was a problem. I do need somebody to help me with that.
Yeah.
And when you give the option to them, they feel like they're making the decision. It's not like you're telling them that they need to hire you.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden, it's like, I need to hire them, and it's in their own mind.
Yeah.
They think they need it. And so it's like when you deliver it diplomatically like that and you hand it to them in that way, I've always found that is a way of creating that relationship that's not salesy, and it's not like, oh, I feel this and I feel nasty about it. It's like you are educating someone else.
Yeah.
And if they're curious enough, it brightens their little light bulb up and they're like, I need that. And then they think that it's their own idea, honestly. And they're like, I do need that. And so you do that. And it obviously has been successful at you. But that is maybe getting your foot in the door. Let's talk about how you keep the repeat customers coming back and how it is that we're going to be right back after a word from our sponsor.
After a car accident, insurance companies will take every shot they can to leave you with nothing. But at Dubin Law, the game isn't over until you get the money you deserve. So call Dubin Law and add us to your roster today.
Getting your foot in the door. Let's talk about how you keep the repeat customers coming back and how it is that you create new customers via word of mouth. Because you've heard me speak several times from the stage, and I talk about going the 3 to 5% edge, right? And that is going above and beyond, whether that is leveraging your uniqueness or being able to stand out from your competition, or really using your skill set. Your skill set is your networking power, maybe showing people that they're missing something, but not being sales pitching. And Mark is his stoic ninja-ness that he can do these things. But what is it that you have done, and you've done successfully, to go above and beyond and show that 3 to 5% edge with your business?
I think it really starts with your team. Because yes, I'm the face, I'm the person that's getting the people, I'm making the relationships, but I'm not the one at the home or the business there doing the work. So I really have to convey and also teach my team to have that sparkle like I do. And I mean, I feel like that goes down to treating people well. We love our team. We have monthly, well, it's like usually in our busy season, it's bi-monthly barbecues where we all meet together. We have team huddles every single morning. On Mondays, we do...
Do you have a physical location that everybody comes to? Okay.
Yeah, we have a shop over off of Flora and Euclid. And the team...
In Spokane.
In Spokane Valley, yeah. And they all meet together, and on Mondays we talk about Google reviews, and so they all get their bonuses. So anytime you leave our technicians a review, they get a $10 bonus. So
nice.
So we read the reviews, we talk about them. That way they're invested as well. I teach my technicians that you're not just cleaning their home. You're not just taking the moss off their roof. You're like, these people pour their blood, sweat, and tears into purchasing a home or building a business, and it matters to them. And so it's an experience. It's not just It's not just you're going and it's robotic and you're cleaning this. Like, so teach them as well. Answer their questions. They arrive to the job site. They meet with the manager or the customer, the homeowner, and they kind of walk through, explain to them what they're going to do. We talk about the process. They all know what they're going to expect, whether, and it starts at the phone call that we talk about, okay, this is the process, whether I can give you a quote over the phone or if we have to do an in-person estimate. And then the process again, they know what to expect when the team shows up. They do their business, they clean everything, and then they walk through and say, hey, we want to go ahead and take a look at everything. Let me know if you notice anything, and all of that. So I really feel like it's the experience that the customer has that really makes it different.
Okay, so you're tapping into making a magical experience, right? And that is when you make what you had mentioned, like the feeling that you get jumping into a cozy bed and you get like you're satisfied and it just makes you feel so happy. You're improving someone's life.
Yeah.
You're improving their emotions and their attitudes by how clean their environment is, and that they're proud of the investment and the blood, sweat, and tears that they put in to buy a home or live in a home or whatever. It's like you can even do a car. I mean, having your car detailed makes you feel better too, right? And so it does. It makes you feel proud. And so your technicians are providing a service or an experience that is making the person feel better.
Yeah.
Right. And it might only last until the pollen hits.
Yeah.
It might only last until like a bird poops on it. But at the same time, it's like it is an emotional experience that you're providing for them that uplifts them.
Yeah.
And you've done an excellent job at that. And I want to go back because you've mentioned that it's like it starts from the time that they call. You make the process very easy. It's not like you're creating barriers for the client to have to go through. You're holding their hand. And then at the end, I love that you said this, that you ask them, is there anything you see? This is the time to give us that feedback because we want to know. And you have no problem going back and fixing things or doing it, even if it's a difficult customer, I'm assuming, right? And it's like you're there to please the customer.
Yeah.
Just like a Nordstrom, like when they come around the counter and they hand you that, or they'll take the tires back, right? You're creating that magical experience.
Definitely.
How do you consistently create magical experiences for you to connect with people? And then secondly, how do you ask the technician to kind of give a magical experience as well? Because you can only control you, but you hope that your technicians through reward system, let's say with a Google review or something, and rewarding them with a big moment, let's say, how are you rewarding them with a small moment so that they transfer that and create magical experiences? What are you doing to do that?
So I think that kind of comes down to the culture that you create in your business. Like it's the same with a home, right? If you have a child that, you're going to punish and excuse me, they like you can tell for children that have a home where their parent is going to yell at them or where their parent is actually going to have a process and sit down with them and have a conversation and show respect. And I think that culture really plays into the way that our technicians go into a home and do the same thing.
Because going into a home is very vulnerable.
Yes.
I mean, it is like, hey, come on in, person I don't know.
Exactly.
And are you going to steal everything from me, right? Like, I'm sure that's going through people's minds.
Oh, for sure.
So how is that what you're saying? Like, that they not only have to create a magical experience and go above and beyond, but they also have to make them feel comfortable enough. How did you do that?
Well, we background check all of our technicians at first.
Your customers. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay.
No, not the customers.
Yeah.
We background check all of our technicians. That's like first step to that process, I think. But yeah, I think that, what was the, sorry.
Well, like you're making people feel comfortable to have a technician come into their home. That's a vulnerable spot. So what are you proving to the client or the customer that, don't worry, we're totally branded and we're insured and this and that. I'm assuming that.
Yes.
And then secondly, how did the technicians walk in? Do you say, take your shoes off, like, or whatever? Like, what are the little things that you do to make the customer feel not special, not going above and beyond, but comfortable? And then second, what are they doing? And do they ever blow your mind? Do you ever get reviews? I'm asking you a ton of questions because I'm super interested. But do you ever get reviews that like, Fred did this and it was amazing? You're like, Fred, why did you think to bring popcorn to that? Like, I'm sure there's ways that they use their own creativity to go above and beyond for a client and a customer, and it must blow your mind.
Yeah, definitely. I think with happy people, you just want to give back to your community and help and be helpful. And that's one of the things that we also encourage like our technicians to, hey, you're not only just like try to be helpful. You're not like they're your community. We're lifting each other up and they're part of your community. And we definitely have like, we're all uniformed. So they have a hat, they have their branded shirts, they're all clean. You don't want a person coming into your home that's all dirty that, we have little booties that slip over their shoes. With the ladders, we have the covers that brace so that when the ladder sits up against your home, it's protected. Lots of different things for protection of your home as well. And then, I think we definitely get some cool reviews. There was this older lady, I want to say she was leaving a review for Nick, and she was older, and she was like, I don't know how to do this. Or she called her office gal, and she's like, he did such an amazing job. I really want to leave him this review, but I don't know how to do it. Oh. So Paris was our office gal, and she was like, no worries. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through. And so she spent 20, 30 minutes on the phone just kind of walking this lady through on how to leave a Google review. Yeah. And she was talking about how there was this big hose and she couldn't get it reeled up and Nick was helping her and all of these things. And so, like you just go above and beyond this older lady that can't reel up her hose and just helping. Like he's not there for that, right? But he's just being
how does that make you and Mark feel as an owner? Like you are making a difference and you're obviously making somebody happy. Like that's got to feel amazing.
It is. It's amazing. It's like, I just love it. Like I love one of my favorite things as a business owner is that we're able to provide jobs. Like you have a job and you're responsible for your family. You have to put food on the table and roof over their head and clothes on their back. And we feel that pressure for every one of our technicians. It's every single one of their families. But at the same time, I know that we're providing them a good job where they can support their family and provide for their family. And and they enjoy it. That's one of the biggest things.
How do you make it an enjoyable environment to work? Like, what are the moments or the small things that you do to make that technician feel heard, seen, valued, and like they actually belong? Because I know you do. What is your secret sauce?
So I think that would fall back on our hiring process. So Mark and I are the owners. Paris does the office stuff. She does the first initial phone calls for interviews, but then we have a very particular interviewing process. And the reason we have it set up like that is because we want good morale. And so we do a in-person interview. So Mark and I do in-person interviews with the new employee. And then we do what's called a working interview. And that's where the entire team gets to work with this person and they get to teach them a few things. And then spend the day with them. Usually we try to do it at a bigger job. And then we all meet together later and we each get the opinion of all of our employees, mostly our leads, because they're the ones that are going to be training and stuff like that. But we're not hiring. We're letting our team hire who they're going to be working with as well. And so I think that makes a huge difference in keeping up with morale and then the team. And they really have a say. It's not just our company. Yeah. It's our company with the entire team.
Well, I love that you said that because that really does, you're rewarding people, right, through Google reviews. You're having these meetings. You're getting everybody's feedback at the meetings, but then you're also rewarding those like good deeds that are going above and beyond. But then what I just heard you say is that it is your company, but it's everyone's company because it all lifts up. The sea lifts up when you all are experiencing good times and you're getting their feedback and you're showing them that their ideas, their personalities all matter. Yeah. And I think that's important. How do you have them explain? So you sit around afterwards and you're like, okay, George, the new employee is here. What do we think? Like, talk to me through that really quick. Like, okay, what did you see? What did you not like? What did you like? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, definitely. Because we all see different things, right? Buck is like our redneck kiddo that like is super hardworking and like is good and he's not as patient as Nick is about teaching and stuff like that. And so Nick and Buck, they both notice different things. And Eric is very meticulous and notices different, like different things about different people.
Yeah.
So like, one of them will say, I saw him, like he's going and taking initiative instead of me having to show him. Or Buck's like, well, I had to teach him 5 times. And Nick's like, well, I kind of showed him a little bit of a different way. And he really caught on that way. And so I think we kind of all just, and that's why it's really important that they each spend at least 30 minutes to an hour teaching each one of the new hires so that when they're in the interviewing process.
I love that, because really what you're discovering is that every single person that you work with, a customer or your technicians, they all work differently.
Yep.
Right? And there's no right or wrong way of cleaning a window, or there's faster ways, there's slower ways, and that ties into the book, right? The sum of 4. And it's like, but for you as a leader to be able to see that, and then to get everybody's opinion on that, and to see the pros and cons, because everybody has a strength and a weakness. And maybe you're the fastest, you're always hustling, but you always are lost and you can't get to a house. That's a problem, right? Okay, well, but that's a totally different thing. They're a hustler, but if they're 45 minutes late to a job every time, then that's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
And so you start to see these things. How do you then make those decisions based off of that? Like, it's just like, we all agree that these are great things that we can improve on that skill set if we do hire this person, or this is a no-go.
Yeah. So I think ultimately Mark and I have the final say, obviously. But for the most part, we kind of just do like a pro and cons list. And then what is it that we're looking for at the moment, right? So sometimes you really need someone that's going to hustle and that's going to just be partnered with a great problem solver and a meticulous person, and you need more of a grunt person. So it kind of also plays into part like, okay, what is the position we're looking for at the moment, and something like that.
Oh, but you're capitalizing on the strength and weakness and then where you're going. So that kind of ties into my next question, which is how have you scaled successfully? Like, how difficult is that, or how easy is that for you?
Well, scaling is definitely not easy. But I think that we've scaled very intentionally. So if you just take every job that you can and you overbook and you wear your guys out, they're not going to go to the job and be happy and provide an experience for your customer.
Love that.
And so scaling, you have to do it really intentionally. And if you don't, then you end up, kind of overpromising. And that's something that we definitely are very focused on not doing. So if we do have to turn down jobs, then we turn down jobs. And we have other window cleaners in the community that we have good relationships with. And because I truly do want Spokane to sparkle, and I can't do it on my own. I'm not set up to.
And you can't do every job.
Exactly.
You don't have enough technicians to fulfill a pipeline that is so overfilled. So it's like to have those partnerships and to have those collaborations and those referrals all do come back.
Exactly.
And I know that, for example, we had discussed earlier before we came on that you don't actually do the rappelling. So it's like some of the commercial buildings that are really, really high, you actually partner with someone else.
Yeah.
And so can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So Eric Katzer is the owner of West Coast Window Cleaning. And any job that is giant and he rappels off of buildings.
No thanks.
I think I could totally do it at least one time. I want to see how it is.
Okay.
I'm okay with heights. And I think it would be fun.
But you talk about a magical experience.
He provides magical experiences.
Okay, tell me about this, because this is interesting. This makes people think like, oh, I don't know how to go above and beyond. I don't know how to make a magical experience for someone else. And it's like, yes, I'm in the service industry. Yes, I'm in the product. It doesn't take a lot. It just takes a little creativity to think outside the box, say, what can I do to make somebody else's day?
Yeah.
What can I do to go above and beyond just a little bit? What's that 3 to 5% extra that I could give?
Yeah.
And this example is beautiful.
So just like we are meticulous with our customers, or sorry, not our customers, but our technicians and our employees, we are who we partner with as well. So like I said, I want all of Spokane to sparkle. And so we grow very intentionally. And so in order to have to turn down a job and refer them to another company, I vet them as well. Like they have to be a good company. They have to have the same at least the same kind of vision as mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Eric Katzer is one who also, he's an amazing man, has grown a great company. It's family owned. And one of my favorite things that he does, he cleans the Sacred Heart Children's Hospital. And so when they go and clean those, they dress up as superheroes and then they rappel down at the building, looking through the window and, so all the kids get to see that superheroes are climbing down and scaling the building and cleaning the windows. So I think that's just so fun.
But I mean, that is making a magical experience.
It is.
And I know that, I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Yes.
And the 501st Legion, they go into the hospitals and they dress up as Darth Vader and stormtroopers. And it's like some of the kids want nothing more than they don't want to be around a doctor. But if Darth Vader, for example, is holding their hand, how awesome is that?
Yeah.
And it's like creating that magical, it's a magical moment, like a Santa Claus experience, right? And it's like, I still get giddy when I see a legion of stormtroopers.
Yeah.
And so to bring that, I love that with the, with the Marvel characters and when Robert Downey Jr. dresses up as Iron Man, he goes into the hospital. Think about the amazing emotional experience that they're creating for that child. That's pretty awesome. And so that's what they're doing. Yeah.
So Eric actually gave us that idea. I was like, okay, for Christmas time, we have beanies for the guys, but I always get them little headbands that's like an elf or a reindeer or, and I'm like, hey, wear this when you're putting Christmas lights on. And sometimes they can't all the time if it's raining, but I'm like, if there's a kiddo there, please be sure to have something on and just make it feel super cool. Like the elves are coming to my home to install the Christmas lights. So, yeah.
No, I think that taps into something that a lot of companies don't do, especially small businesses. And that is not only leveraging what you're good at, right? But then also just those little moments in time that you can make somebody's day special. And if you listen to them, you can find out that they're having a bad day.
Yeah.
You can find out that a lady can't roll up the hose by herself. And it's just being aware and being curious enough, whether that's your workers or your employees or even your technicians. It's just keep an eye out and see what you can do to go above and beyond, because it's not that difficult.
No, it's not.
It is not.
Yeah.
You also give thank you cards and things. And so it's tell me about that. How does that feel as the networker? What are you doing to go above and beyond to show your appreciation to the repeat customers, the loyal customers and things? What are you doing as the networking side, the superpower?
Yeah. So we love our thank you cards. We always send a thank you card for somebody that leaves a review. We always send a thank you card to somebody that refers to us. So our office gal will write those out and send those out. We haven't done a Christmas card yet, but I think this year we might do a company Christmas card. I think that's so fun.
Okay.
But yeah, we love to give back. So we are just involved in a lot of networking groups, but not only in networking groups. I'm also on the board for Youth for Christ. I'm the treasurer of the PTF at my daughter's school, Valley Christian. I'm also in the auction committee there, and we just love to give back to our community. So we also do golfing tournaments. So that's where we will have, for example, say that this company has referred us a ton throughout last year or something like that. We say, hey, you know what? Come have a golf day with us. And I want to introduce you to a few more business owners that would partner well with you.
Love
that. Yeah. So I'm very meticulous on who I am having on that golf team so that they can partner together well and introduce each other.
Is that why I've never been invited?
Not yet.
Okay, thank you. We don't golf.
You don't golf?
No. Oh. But that's interesting that you say that, because part of it is it's about showing your gratefulness and your appreciation for your clients, right? And it's what can you do to make them feel like you really appreciated them trusting you and giving you their business, because it's a relationship that you've created. Yeah. And sending those thank you cards, those handwritten cards, is so important. And I think it's a lost art. Yeah. And my friend Kim Kelly, who does Christ Kitchen, draws an amazing handwritten letter, and I always bring this up on stage all the time because it looks like an old English, like it belongs on a Captain Morgan bottle or something like that. It is beautiful handwriting. And Heidi saw the envelope come one time, and she snatched it out of my hand. She ran over to Hayden, and she goes, "This is why you practice calligraphy." It's oh my gosh, because it's so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
But Kim did not know that sending me that thank you card would not only make my day, but it would make my wife's day and my daughter's day, and it would influence and reach some someone outside of just me and saying thank you for being a client, right? And so it's like those little moments, they really do start to add up.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
they make you referable to other people.
Yeah.
What is it that you would say makes you stand out from competition, for example? Because obviously there's more than one window cleaning service.
Oh, yeah.
What and it's not like you can't take every job, but what do you think keeps your business up and running and getting such great reviews that you do?
I think honestly, it's multiple things. One, the relationship that we build with people. There's a customer that I can think of who I love pups. We have 3 pitties. We are pitty family who we rescue pitties, but I love all kinds of pups. And one of our customers, up in Legacy Ridge, one of her pups had passed away, and it was just so hard on her and her family. And so we had given her, we went and got her, like just made her little like gift basket. And then I went and delivered it. And she was like, we're actually shopping for another pup. And this is our pup and all the things. And so she was going to shop for her new pup. And she ended up getting 2. And
2 is one is none, right? All right.
And so when I found out like, oh, she got 2 pups. So I went and got little rain jackets for them and delivered the little rain jackets. And so like just little things, just not only are we...
That's not
like,
little, Shannon. That's a lot, by the way. But okay. No,
but just like the relationship we have with them, they had referred us to like 4 of their neighbors. And so not only do we do like little like thank you cards, we give them like $25 referral bonus and little gifts like that.
Yeah.
So, and we really build the relationship with them.
And I want to stop you there really quick because it's not the amount of money.
No.
It's the principle behind what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes I'm going to throw my producer under the bus right now because he hears me talk about going above and beyond all the time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and I refer him business and like podcasting clients.
Yeah.
And to this day, I remember I walked in here one time and there was a present for me. And I was like, what is that? And he goes, I just wanted to let you know that I do appreciate when you bring me new clients. And he got me this Rode piece that you hook up to your phone and then you can like talk into it. So it sounds better. And he goes, listen, I heard you do a blue perspective on your podcast one time and it just sounded horrible with the wind. And he goes, so I figured this could help you. And I just wanted to show you that I appreciated you doing that. And that made such a great impact on me because it felt like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am giving him business but at the same time he's appreciative of it. And so Brennan, I know you're listening to this because you're in the other room, but he deserves that, right? And it's like those little moments, it's not the amount, it's not what it is, it's just the principle behind making other people feel appreciated for what they do and that like they actually matter and that they're valuable. And you're a star stud at that, lady. You really, really are.
Well, I think that comes back to also like he solved a problem for you again.
Yeah, obviously, it sounded horrible with the wind, right?
And it was just very personable.
Yes.
Like, and that to me, like, is it? I think that it really mattered to her because she knew that it was something. It wasn't just like, oh, $25 bonus. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, hey, you actually care about my family. You know that I love my pups.
Yes.
They're like my kids. Mm-hmm. And I was just celebrating that she got another pup or 2.
Mm-hmm. Or 2, right? That's so heartfelt. And it really, but the only way that you could do that is if you had a relationship with them and you took 2 minutes to sit across from them, listen to their problems, listen to them, or be curious enough. And like, that's another thing is that when you see people post things online, keep track of those things. Like do these touch points with your clients because when you do see that they got a new job, don't all of a sudden reach out and say, hey, how is your job now? And you're like, wait, didn't you realize like I lost my job? Like at least put a little effort into it. And when you do that, it really does go a long way to somebody. And so it's those little touch points and actually being curious enough to listen, actively listen to that client that is gold. And you've done an exceptional job at that.
Yeah. I think other window cleaners as well, I know with relationship and experience, whether we came and we cleaned your whole home and we missed a few spots or we broke a window, does
that happen?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially like when people are trying to like we encourage people to at least get clean twice for your home in the spring and fall. And, with our lovely weather out here, in the fall, sometimes it's very, very cold. And, if it's an older home, say on South Hill, the windows are very old and brittle. It's very, very likely to
crack or break.
Or something.
Okay.
And I think that the way that we're all human, we all make mistakes. I think that the way that you handle your mistake really makes a huge difference.
Yes. Okay, so what I'm hearing is you take responsibility for it.
100%.
Whether or not it was really your fault, like obviously it's an old window, but if you touch it, then you take responsibility.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've always been good at, but how do you teach that to a technician?
So we teach them, like you said, take responsibility and then communicate. This is the issue that we had, and then we're going to make sure we clean it up. We have a great company that we work with, a couple. We work with Trusted Siding and Windows and Grizzly Glass. They are amazing, and they come and help us if we crack a window. Or
Please tell me you know Pat Murphy with Grizzly.
Oh, I love Pat. Pat calls me the candy lady. Because what I do is
he's one of my best friend's dad.
Oh my gosh, he's so great. He actually just won a 77-inch TV at an event that I was just at. So I was so happy for him. But he calls me the candy lady.
Okay, you're the candy lady. All right.
Because for our commercial clients that have storefronts and stuff like that, for like Canine Country Club or Grizzly Glass, Northwest Diesel Works. So we have candy jars at their locations, and we have like our logo on them, and I have a stack of our business cards, and I just go in and just keeping that relationship with the businesses as well. I pop in, I fill up their candy jar, I talk about how they're doing, is there anything that we need, like that they need from us, how we can help them. And so, Pat calls me the candy lady because, I pop in and refill candy throughout the community.
Okay, that totally went sideways on a conversation that I didn't expect, but it does tie into the fact that it's something that you do, and that is with your clients and customers. It is like you're face to face. Like you make the effort to spend a couple minutes to fill a candy jar.
Yeah.
And then ask how they're doing. Like that is so important that I think most people don't do. And it's if you do more than 99% of the people, you're going to win in the end, right? And if it just takes filling a candy jar, that's all it takes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Well,
I'm not going to call you the candy lady because Pat stole that, but I am going to call you the ninja networker for sure.
Or Sparkle Lady.
Or Sparkle Lady. Tell me really quick, tell me a fun story about just something. Obviously, you're going into homes and you're saying, what is a funny story about cleaning windows that you could tell our audience?
Well, let's see. Okay, so a really funny one that just recently happened. We clean apartment communities. And some apartments have balconies, and so we some of the customers have us hop the balcony and clean the window or the slider and stuff like that. So one of our technicians was climbing up the ladder, hopped over the balcony, saw a little toddler there, so he's cleaning the window and draws a little smiley face, and then wipes away the smiley face, and then waves bye to her and hops over and goes on and cleans the window. Come to find out, the little toddler was there, and she watched him do that and then ran to wake up her mom, who just had a newborn baby, and was like, Mama, this guy came into our house. And she flipped out, was like, what? Calls her husband. They get on the phone. This is like a Friday at like 5 p.m. It's the end of the day. The manager in the apartment community was not there. And the cops get called, and my technician's like, the cops are coming up. My technician's like, what happened? Like, no, I know exactly what happened. I didn't go into the home. He's like calling. We were actually at a funeral for a friend of ours, and Mark's getting a call like over and over and over. And he's like, I got to take this phone call. So he goes out of the funeral service and it's like, hey, what's going on? He's like, I got to go. The cops are at this apartment community we're cleaning. Apparently there was this big misunderstanding.
No. Yeah.
But it also goes back to the way that you handle mistakes and misunderstandings.
Yeah.
The police officer, the manager, and the family were just like, thank you so much for the way that you handled this. Like, it was a misunderstanding, obviously. Like, but it was just like, so imagine my technician was like,
terrified.
I was terrified. Like, I didn't do that. I was trying to make a smiley face. and make her smile.
Make a magical experience turn into a terrifying experience.
Yes.
The window cleaning. I wonder if she's
Yeah.
ever going to hire a window cleaner. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
Yeah. So there's some crazy ones. Yeah.
What is something that because you've obviously done your homework and you've deep dive into the YouTube on learning these experiences and these skill set. What is something that homeowners can do to protect their windows?
Okay, so definitely clean them.
Like with Windex, and I'm going around and spraying it because I'm pretty bad at that.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can if you can't afford to have a window cleaner. And honestly, having your windows clean is really inexpensive. One of our most inexpensive ones that I want to say save the most is gutter cleaning. Gutter cleaning is so vital for your home. And not only will it save your gutter, but it will also save your roof. Because if your gutter fills up and we get a freeze and then it breaks, now it's causing issues on your roof as well. And gutters and roofs are super expensive. Same with windows, to have your windows replaced. I encourage you to get a quote because it's surprisingly cheaper than you think. But definitely try to keep them clean. If you see hard water is like super, super bad. It's like moss is cancer for your roof and hard water is cancer for your windows. When hard water sits on your windows, it does this process called etching. And basically what it's doing is it's carving and scratching into your glass.
That's when you see like a drip of like pollen. It looks like the raindrop.
White or foggy.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like a raindrop.
Okay.
That will build up. So there's minerals in your water and in the rainwater and everything. So when the water itself dries, the minerals remain and that stays on your glass.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And so it causes damage and it etches your windows and your glass and you have to get it off.
Okay. So even if you should get out and clean your own windows every once in a while.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I would say 2 times a year at least.
Okay.
Yeah. And your screens. Screens, people don't really, they always forget about the screens.
Yeah.
But screens actually, they have teeny tiny little holes.
Yeah.
And screens, if it's full of dirt, will trap moisture between your screen and your glass. And now that moisture is being trapped between, and then it's also accumulating the water, and it's letting it sit there and not dry as quickly. And so that allows more pollen or wind or anything that comes in.
Or mold grow or whatever,
exactly.
or moss. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And it damages your windows. And so those minerals on the glass, like you have a film on the outside, it breaks it down. And so it damages it and makes your windows more brittle. It messes up. It'll break a seal. There's gas between your panes, which helps keep your home warm and all of that. And
Right.
so you don't want a broken seal either.
That's awesome. I'm going to start cleaning my own windows at least twice a year with you guys as a third or fourth time. I love that. For someone, now let's change gears really quick for a final question. That would be like, for someone who wants to get into a business and let's say buy a business or a franchise or anything like that, you're going to have certain challenges. What have you found? Can you give me 2 things that have worked well for you to do it as synergistically with a couple? So you two working together, what are 2 things that you would say to someone who wants to get into business with their significant other? What are 2 points of advice that you would say you should do these 2 things besides a life coach, because you've already mentioned that, that you would suggest to be successful as a couple, a power couple? Because you've done an amazing job. What are 2 things that you would suggest people to do to become a powerful power couple as an entrepreneur or business owner?
Well, I would say start with considering each of your strengths and kind of break it down from there. And then once you find a business, definitely get a lawyer. We use Crystal Lamb. She's our lawyer at Spokane Business Attorneys. She is truly amazing, and she helps businesses like buy and sell businesses. And yeah, she avoids expensive mistakes because not only if you go into trying to build a business or buy a business, you make a big expensive mistake that's already going to have like a wrong foot in the door when you're starting it. So definitely get a lawyer so that you get that foundation and done correctly.
That was a major plug for Crystal with Spokane Business Lawyers because she's amazing, and I know her very well, and she is so great. So continue.
She is amazing. Yes, I love her. And then I would also say that the business coach as well. That's one of the biggest things. And then building your team. Just really pour into teaching and growing and educating your team. Like,
but at the beginning, that's hard. Because you're like scraping for money, right? Like it's like you're cutting costs and you're like maybe eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at the beginning. It's like, it's not easy to start a business or to buy a franchise. And it's like you guys are going to clash. So it's like, before you get to that scaling and before you grow to that spot, it sounds to me like it's communication. Yeah. It's about understanding your strengths and weaknesses. Definitely. But then also, so to have a third party person involved, whether that's a lawyer or an accountant, somebody who can offset the things that maybe you can do, but somebody can do better.
Yes.
And it's not like a full-time employee. It's just somebody that you contractually push out, like doing your taxes or your legal documents or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that sounds like that's great advice for someone.
Yeah. I mean, there's different business, figure out your strengths. And like, for example, legally, we didn't have experience in that. So we were like, we need a lawyer to make sure that it gets done correctly. Same with like taxes. There's so many different ways and so many things with taxes. It gets so confusing. So hire people that know what they're doing. You don't know what you don't know. And that's where it comes down to the basic, figure out your strengths and then figure out where are your weaknesses and find the right people. Whether it's a tax person or a bookkeeper or a lawyer or a business coach. You really want to make sure that you fill the holes on where your weaknesses are with a professional.
I love that. And I think that I know that you guys do that well, and you guys are everyone talks so highly about you in our community, and we know so many of the same people, including Pat now, that scares me to death. But we actually got connected via Georgia, but at the same time, I spoke for STCU, and they purchased a ton of books, and you guys clean STCU's windows.
We do. We actually clean all of that. Like, they actually opened 10 branches down in Oregon. And so we pressure wash all of their buildings. We do all the moss removal, gutter cleaning, and the windows for STCU, which I love.
Well, and then your husband was inside cleaning, and he came upon my book.
Your book. And he's like, you have this book.
Oh my gosh. Because so many people had the books in their office. Yeah. And he was like, who is this guy? Yeah. And so that was another connector with us. And it's like, that is the power of having goodwill and or a good name where people can refer you, because when you see those things, like, oh my gosh, like when people talk positively about you, it really does bring everybody else up. And so you guys have done an exceptional job on that. Where can people find out more about you and your business and find out if they, I know that you do not contracts. What is it that you come out and do a
free estimate?
A free estimate. Like, you do estimates. So where can people find out more about your business and find out about estimates?
So we have our website is saveyourglass.com. SAVE, not Savior like our Lord and Savior. And we also have Facebook, Instagram, and pretty much that's it. Or just come find me out in the community.
I love that. Now, were you running a special offer on anything?
Yes, we do. So if you use code BLUE.
Like the color.
Or your name.
Yeah, not like the wind past tense. Continue.
We will offer 10% off for the rest of this entire year on any of our services. So,
and for those listening, this is 2026.
2026.
Okay.
Yes.
The rest of the year. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I will say that I have used you guys several times, and it is worth it. And you guys have gone above and beyond. And my wife loves you, and everyone that I know talks about you. Thank you so much for sharing your message and bringing a little interesting perspective and opening some doors for different people. But then also, like, just some of the feedback that you could give to entrepreneurs or business owners, I think that really hit home. And I think you really threw some nuggets out there that a lot of people can take with them to not only communicate with their business partners, but with their teams.
Yeah.
And then also how you can go above and beyond for the client or for the customer or for the member, because it's not that difficult, and you have a secret sauce, you've applied it, and you gave us a lot of nuggets today. And thank you so much for your time, Shannon.
You're welcome. It's actually called Sparkle Spray, but
Sparkle Spray. All right, Miss Candy, you got it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Blue.
Awesome. If this episode brings you value or you know someone who could benefit from it, the best way to support the show is by sharing and subscribing. It's completely free and helps us reach more people. And if you have any questions, feedback, or guests you'd like me to interview, drop a comment while you're there. I'd love to hear from you. And most importantly, thank you for tuning in. And let's continue sharing optimism and positivity.